All right. Well, welcome everybody to the general session of the JL Success Mastermind. This is Shannon Lavenia. I'm super excited to be here with you today. And I may cough in your ear. I apologize. So I have like apparently bad allergies to whatever is blooming right now. And it is what it is. So I don't know that we'll be here for the full hour, but we will be here for a good amount of time. And what I wanted to share with you today, or what I wanted to talk about today on the call, was a term that comes to mind a lot of times, which is industriousness. And in business and entrepreneurship, industriousness is one of those characteristics that enables you to handle whatever adversities or challenges or unexpected things that might come across the path, or if you head in one direction and it doesn't necessarily go the way that you want it to, having the ability to be industrious is really important. So the word, just to give you the definition, the word industriousness is energetic in application to work or study. And there used to be an older definition, which was skillful and clever. And then industriousness is persevering determination to perform a task. So where does this, really come into play in business? So, in any business, we have an idea of something that we're going to create, a product that we're going to bring to market. Perhaps you've researched it and you found it on, Alibaba or another sourcing platform, or perhaps you've just come up with an original idea that you want to bring to market and you're hoping that it's going to be successful. In any endeavor, there are going to be times when it works the way you want it to, and it doesn't work the way that you want it to. And has anyone had the experience of it not working the way that you want it to? Right? Yeah. Okay. Me too. Right. So we've all had those situations where we've had, things that have worked the way that we've wanted it to, and times when it hasn't worked the way that we wanted it to. And what happens in a lot of businesses and with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I see this in my business, right? Because I'm a business coach. So we're doing discovery calls and we're onboarding people into the coaching program and things like that. And when I'm doing the discovery calls, one of the things that I find sometimes is that when people try something and they bring it to market and it doesn't work out the first time, oftentimes they'll walk away. And they walk away because of a couple different reasons. One, they realized that it really wasn't a product that was going to work in the way that they wanted it to work, which is okay, right? They might have gotten some data after they launched or after they came up with the idea that then had them realize, like, okay, I was missing this data when I was making my previous decisions. So now I'm making these decisions with this data. They may have, succumb to self-doubt or other considerations about their own personal abilities, right? Maybe they thought, I don't have the aptitude to do this, or I don't, I'm not interested in it. I don't have the passion, or whatever other reason comes up that somebody would walk away, right? And then there's the reasons of they're just tapped out, right? They've run out of resources or something like that, right? And they might walk away for a little bit. And then there are the other people who are super industriousness, and despite the failure, they get creative and they figure out new and innovative ways to get that product sold, right? To get that product to market, to make sure that their business is going to be a success. And one of the people that comes to mind when I think about industriousness is Julia with Choozle Puzzles. So you all know Julia. So Julia launched her puzzles, right? And she's had a lot of barriers, a lot of adversities, a lot of obstacles that have popped up during this journey of launching the puzzles, right? Like the boxes came crushed, the picture didn't match, the printing wasn't the quality she expected, right? A lot of different adversities and obstacles that have kind of appeared on her journey of entrepreneurship. But what hasn't changed is her drive or desire to have this business be successful. So instead of saying, okay, well, this vendor's not good, I probably shouldn't do the puzzle business. Instead, she said, okay, let me figure out another vendor, right? Let me figure out what would be a good resource, right? And she learned about sourcing. Unfortunately, the first person she worked with was not a good sourcing agent. And she took that as a learning experience, right? And people who have a high level of industriousness do that. They'll look at these temporary obstacles or adversities or failures as learning experiences, things that they can develop from. The second thing was that she launched her products on Amazon and she wasn't really making sales, right? Like the sales weren't really coming through the way that she wanted them to. So instead of kind of succumbing to that, she said, okay, what can I do to get sales? And she's actually in my coaching program. So one of the things I said was, what about stores? What about getting out and getting it into retail? And she has been steadily increasing the number of stores that she's gotten her product into. And really, you can do that with any product, not just puzzles, but there are lots of mom and pop stores that you can get your products sold in, right? So again, it was like, okay, let's figure out a way to get this done, to get these sold. And then additionally, what she's doing is a lot of social media promotion to make her products known to the public outside of Amazon, right? So she's doing a lot of videos and posting. And the reason I bring up Julia in particular is because that's a very uncomfortable space for her, right? She wasn't adept at social media before launching this business. It wasn't a skill set that she had. So she's really grown in that in order to get these puzzles moving and the puzzles sold. Another example that I can think of in terms of industriousness is my friends Leah and Todd Getz. So Leah and Todd have a salt and pepper grinder set, electric grinder set that they sell on Amazon. And their sales initially, after they did their first launch on Amazon, weren't as high as they would have liked them to be. So then what they did was they created YouTube videos comparing their grinders to other people's grinders and posted those on YouTube. And their YouTube videos have gotten tens of thousands of views, right? So now they're driving that traffic to Amazon to purchase their grinders. And that's helped them increase in the rankings, right? Upwards. So sometimes we have to think, what else can we do in order to make our product or our business successful? When I was first launching the CEO Freedom Accelerator, one of the things that I did, we did Facebook ads, but then I also did a lot of connecting with individual people in different Facebook groups to build those relationships and introduce them into my course, into my program. So while I could have just run ads and relied on email, I took it a step further and said, what else can I do in order to get people interested in my coaching program? What else can I do in order to connect with more people so that they can learn about what I'm doing here? They can learn about, scaling their business and having more freedom in their life. And by doing that, by getting out there and connecting in these Facebook groups, I actually made more connections and brought in, to date, probably about $25,000 in revenue just from the outreach that I've done in Facebook groups, right? So, what other industrious things can we do? And I think about, kids are extremely industrious. And I think somewhere along the line, we kind of lose it because, we go through education and we get a little bit fearful of what other people are going to say or how it's going to reflect us. And a lot of life's failures start to stack, right? Like as we get older, the first time you fall off a bike, it's not a big deal. The 10th time you fall off a bike, you start to get a little bit scared of the bike, right? Because then you start to like doubt, can I really do this? Do I have balance issues? Do I need a different bike? Like we have all these questions. And in life, as we're going forward, a lot of the little failures will start to stack up. And that creates a lot of inhibition in what we're doing. Versus like I look at my daughter and she's willing to try basically anything. She's willing to like get out there and do stuff because she's very goal minded. So industriousness has a lot to do with really being set and decided on your goal and not being willing to walk away from it and not being willing to say, oh, well, I tried, it didn't work out, whatever, life's still okay, right? The level of industriousness that it takes to make it over the hurdle and have the type of consistency and have the type of persistence that we're going to have in business really has a lot to do with having that goal that we're super determined on, that we're not willing to walk away with, that we're going to get extra creative, right? And as Ingrid said, then it's not a goal, it's a want or a wish, right? So like nobody starts running a marathon with the thought, well, maybe halfway through, I'll just walk off and, go to the bar. Like, why bother showing up, right? Why bother showing up if that was the attitude, right? People start at the starting line with the intention of getting to the finish line. And in business, a lot of times we're very willing to just pivot or give up or walk away or do whatever and say, oh, I tried. But does that really give us the type of success or life acknowledgement that we want to have, that we want to accomplish? And I've had a big goal for a long time. It's a goal that I've never accomplished. And each month I go after this goal, each month, right? And each month I've not hit the goal. But each month I reset the goal and I look at what happened the previous month. And then I'm able to identify, and my goal's really big, right? It's really big. And I know that it's going to take some aptitude, some persistence, some trial and error, and even pushing through some like unknown challenges in order for me to get there. But each month I reset and I persist towards this goal, right? Knowing that I'm going to hit it. And if I didn't hit it this month, I would be one step closer to hitting it next month because I would know again what needed to be tweaked or what needed to be changed, right? So oftentimes, and that's industriousness. That's just looking at, okay, what else can we do? What else can we do to make this happen? And this month, I'm excited, right? I'm excited to go into the month with this goal, knowing that I have a plan to hit it, knowing that, hopefully these allergies go away and my dog's not going to need another leg amputation and all the other life stuff that comes up, right? Suzanne's laughing. This is like, life is crazy sometimes, Today I have to take my daughter over to urgent care or whatever. She jammed her toe up and it looks like it's dislocated. So you never know, life is crazy. So, but we adapt to it and we get industrious and we make things happen. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. That's about all the talking that I'm going to be able to get out of my head this morning. But I do want to open this up for instructions. I would love to hear some stories from you guys of times when you've been industrious or you've had to do things, kind of out of the box to further your journey, and how that worked, and also how you felt like being creative and taking those steps forward. Who would like to step out here?
I'll take a shot at it to start off with, Shannon.
Okay.
It's actually unrelated in this venue with this group here, but something in my career that compelled me. It was sort of a sink or swim type of environment, and I'm sure everyone here has felt that a few times in their lives too. But it absolutely is an industriousness sort of event. When I was probably a mid-level captain, I got stationed in a place called Atsugi, the Naval Air Facility in Japan, on the Kanto Plain. I was a Marine captain, and this facility that I took over was called the Support Equipment Rework Facility, the SURF. It was part of an organization called the Naval Air Pacific Repair Activity. What did these guys do? They did depot level repair. For anybody who understands, I bet John probably has a pretty good idea of this stuff. This is complete disassembly and reassembly of all components in a particular item. And what I did, and what the 79-person team did, and they were all Japanese nationals, by the way, and we needed an interpreter because only about 25% of them spoke any English to speak of, and I wasn't fluent in kanji, katakana, or hiragana, so I was, in a kind of a losing place there as well. So when I got on board, I got pulled in by the commanding officer, and he let me know that, oh, by the way, your $4 million budget is, and this is in early 90s when we were doing this reduction in force across the military for the US, and my $4 million budget went down to $1 million. And the expectation was I was still going to be able to support the complete naval and Marine Corps fleet in the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and Persian Gulf, all support equipment. Tens of thousands of pieces of equipment for anything afloat or ashore. And it was, needless to say, I was like, oh, I had one of those OMG moments. And I went to my a 55-year-old supply guy from the Navy, retired chief, who really had his act together. And sometimes, we had to put our ego in our back pocket and listen to the experts. And that's exactly what I did. And we found a way to go to another place called it was, I don't know if people have ever worked with them, but this is DRMO, Defense Reutilization Management Office. This is where a lot of items get sent to that are up for auction, or materials that don't get used, that have been overstocked, etc. So we used that, and we took one of our warehouses and turned it into basically an oversized stockroom. And that's how we survived, by looking at previous, we analyzed previous actions and completions over the course of the last several years, and what things, what were the trends and what kind of items would come in, what things needed the most work. And then we went out to the fleet and said, what is coming up for rework? And we just put kind of two and two together and figured that all out. And we were able to survive over the course of the next 2.5 years on $1 million budgets, as opposed, so a 75% reduction in budget, and still we're able to get through that. But I got to tell you, that was, we did a number of our own fabrications. So our machinists and our people in metal shop and electricians, we started creating and building wiring bundles. We did a whole bunch of things, and I know this may seem like foreign matter to a lot of people, but we all of us we had that sort of come to Jesus meeting and said, hey, if we're going to support the fleet, these are some things that we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to change our processes and how we accomplish things, and how we evaluate what we have coming in. So the first 6 months were rather interesting, and I had to provide a lot of updates. But once people get to the point where they felt like they could trust what we were up to and understood where we were going, and we had results that they could count on, that kind of cleared the air. But it was a rather interesting start, and I was doing a lot of tap dancing initially. So if that makes any sense, but
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think in the military, there's an expectation too of, a person's ability to be industrious and, I mean, to follow the rules, obviously, in the order and chain of command and all of that. But, if you're in battle, there's so much unpredictability. You have to, think on your feet. So that's awesome.
yeah, thank you.
All right, Ingrid.
Hi there.
Hey.
I just wanted to say that thanks to your training, some of the stuff that I'm doing now, I know I'm not doing as much as I need to be doing, but yeah, things that are out of the box are becoming the norm now. So that's really great. And I think that's really important because you just need to widen your toolbox, and it has to become the norm so that, yeah, you do things that are new and stretchy. Ouch, sorry, the dog's sitting on me. But they have to sort of enter into your toolbox, and that's what I'm learning from you, and I really appreciate that. And I understand not everyone has a goose, but that's going to be my next out of the box video reel thing, is the goose. We're going to move on from the dog to the $4,000 goose and see where that, because right now the dog is actually winning in the social media frame. She has a sponsor now, which is great. It's supposed to be a Beamer thing, but it's a dog thing. But yeah, it is all really thinking outside the box and making it become your norm. It's really freeing. It's really empowering. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, take the opportunity to do the Beamer on the dog on video too, because there's, I mean, what people pay for their pets is pretty extraordinary.
So I can do like a whole thing about, if you need to get your Jack Russell to calm down, do this.
Yeah, exactly. Or dogs that have hip issues and stuff, that increasing circulation to the area, stuff like that, or wounds or healing. Or
how long? Like, I see other people's things are longer than mine. I'm just doing the 15 seconds that it sort of allows you to do. How do you make them a little bit longer?
You can, on Instagram, you can pick 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's an option for 15 or 30.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Prepare to be inundated.
I love it. I love it. Suzanne.
Mine's not nearly as dramatic as Mark's. No $1 million involved or anything like that. But when I first was starting out in my adult life, in my first career as a dancer, I didn't think of it as being industrious, but the amount of auditions you go to until you start getting jobs. And I remember going to auditions and watching girls who had obviously been in the business for a while, walk in, hug the choreographer, and it was like, okay, that's 2 spots gone. It was just quite simply, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I just kept going. I just kept plugging at it, because someone had also said to me, by the law of averages, you'll get your first job. Actually, the first one wasn't the problem. And then it does build, it does get easier. But yeah, I never thought of it as being industrious. Just, I had the passion there. So that's what carried me through, and youth.
Yeah. Well, it's that determination, right? You had a set destination that you weren't willing to divert from. Like that was going to be your path. So I love it. That's awesome. Anyone else want to pop out here? Okay, well, I think we're concluding for today then. Thank you guys for being here on the general session. And hopefully in 2 weeks when I'm back on with you, my voice will be back to normal and my head won't feel like it's going to explode. And, and I won't be coughing in your ear. So just remember, be industrious, be very clear on your goal, your destination, what it is you're accomplishing, and then be industrious in all your endeavors. So have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Shannon.
Bye.